Good morning, students. So we have our math assignment here for Friday, October 30th, and we are going to continue adding fractions with unlike denominators. This time it's going to be mixed numerals. So usually we don't have too much work on Friday, but we do want to get ahead here in math as our problems are getting a little bit more challenging. So please pay close attention, make sure you're following all of the steps, and I'm going to go over a few of them with you. So yesterday and the day before, you practiced adding and subtracting fractions alone with unlike denominators. So for mixed numbers, it's actually not too much harder. We're going to use the same steps and then add one more step for our whole numbers. So after you complete your review exercises and speed drills, you're going to start, and here are the directions. It says, when adding mixed numerals with unlike denominators, first add the fractions. So make sure that's our step one. If the fraction is improper, make it into a mixed numeral. So I'll put a little question mark here. Make sure if it's improper, we're going to change it to a mixed numeral. And if it is, we're going to add that mixed numeral to our whole numbers. And lastly, reduce your answer if needed. So we're going to put here, add the sum to our whole numbers. If it's not improper, then we'll just add our whole numbers and you'll see. And then our last step is to reduce if necessary. So here we go for the first sample. We have here 2 2/5 plus 3 1/2. So to add our fractions here with unlike denominators, we have to, of course, find the LCD, the least common denominator. So by now we probably know that the least common denominator for 5 and 2 is 10, because it is the smallest number that both 5 and 10 fit into. And then we're going to make sure that we multiply. So we know that 2 times 5 gives us 10, so we're going to multiply 5 here. And we know that 5 times 2 over here gives us 10, so that's the number that we're going to multiply up here. So then we will add these as usual. Here we have 2 plus 2, which is, or 2 times 2, I'm sorry, which is 4. And then 1 times 5, which is 5. So we have here 4 plus 5, 9 over 10. Now is this answer improper? And it's not. It is proper, so we do not have to change it to a mixed numeral. All we have to do is add our whole numbers here, 2 plus 3, and 2 plus 3 is 5. So this time we didn't have to add a mixed number. But let's see about the second sample. So here for our second sample, 4 1/2 plus 3 3/5. And again, we have 2 and 5 for our denominators, so we already know that our least common denominator is going to be 10. 5 times 2 gives us 10, so we're going to put a 2 up here. 2 times 5 gives us 10, so we're going to put a 5 up here and multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 2 is 6. And then we add 5 plus 6. And 5 plus 6 is 11. So we're going to have 11 over 10. Now is that improper? Yes. So we have to change this to a mixed number before we add to our whole numbers. So let's do that quickly. 10 goes into 11 one time. Trying to make it small here. So we're going to have 1 1/10. So this turns into 1 1/10. And then we add our whole numbers. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8. So our new answer should be 8 and 1 over 10. So I know that this is an extra step if your fraction problem is improper. So I encourage you to go back and listen to this lesson again if you're having trouble understanding what to do if your fractions are improper, because you have to make sure that you change them into the mixed number before you add them to your whole number. So let me know if you need any extra help. Just send me an email and we can schedule to meet. If not, we will go over on Monday any questions. But definitely just go back and re-watch if necessary. Just another reminder, if your fraction is not improper, you just add your whole numbers. If it is improper, change it to a mixed numeral and then add your whole numbers. So here for our language arts assignment, we have a do you recall exercise. So usually this is just going back to what you've already learned in the past, just to remind and review. So here we're going to start with some past and past participles and just remembering and going over that. So it says up here to look closely. Remember that the past participle always needs a helping verb. The past form does not use a helping verb. Review the lists of verbs below so that you can use them correctly. So here we have a few examples, and they're just reminders. We've already learned this before. But when we talk about something in the past, we talk about it by itself. Like he began doing his homework, or he did his homework. So past participle, we never use alone. We have begun our homework. We have done our homework. So the difference is past will be used alone. A past participle will have a helping verb like this, like have. So what we're doing here is going over our principal parts, and it says, now that you have reviewed these verb lists, see if you can use them correctly without looking back. Some of the verbs in the following sentences need helping verbs, some do not. Add has or have in the blanks where they are needed. If no helping verb should be used, leave the blank empty. So, the best way to do this exercise is to read the sentences out loud. Reading them out loud will help you identify if it makes sense or not, or if it's missing a word. So let's do the first two together. Here it says, he blank drunk 3 glasses of milk today. So, should it say he drunk 3 glasses of milk today? Or should it say he had drunk 3 glasses of milk today? So this one might seem tricky, but the past would actually be drank. So the fact that it says drunk means we should write had here. Then here, I wrote a thank you note to my teacher. Do you have to put an extra word here? I had wrote? No, because that would be I had written. So you don't need to put a helping verb here, because I wrote a thank you note to my teacher makes perfect sense on its own. So you're going to do the same with 3 through 8, and then write the numbers of the sentences that had the past participle. So if you did had to write a helping verb, write the number of the sentence here. Then here on verbs, you're just going to underline the verbs, underline the action words as we're used to, circle any helping verbs, write A in the blank if the verb shows action, write B if the verb shows state of being. So this might seem a little confusing, but it's easy. If it is an action word, like somebody can do it, you will put A. But if it is a state of being, like the person is, has, had, has been, those are being verbs. Those are things that you are, not things that you do. And then you would write B for those. So this is just pretty much a review, and of course I am available if needed. And just a reminder for Friday for today for list 10, you are defining your pattern words. So just these first 12, using your spelling dictionary in the back of the book, you're just writing the meaning for these 12. Don't forget to send them along with your reading assignments and your homework. And for a reading reminder, so not only will we be continuing practicing a little bit of Shakespeare next week, remember that we will also be starting Bridge to Terabithia. Now, I'm not 100% sure if we're going to be able to start on Monday, November 2nd, but I am planning on it. So even if you don't have your book ready, I may still start. And I just encourage you to join us on Zoom, whether or not you have the book, because we're going to be sharing and reading, students and myself, and it's going to be a great book that ends with a movie. So just be ready on Monday with your Midsummer Night's Dream passage paper and the Bridge to Terabithia book if you have it.